What's going on, Giants fans? We have a loaded show to get into, but first, I want to remind you to subscribe. Look, if this is your first time coming across a Giants Now video, go down right now and hit that big red button. We put out daily free videos around the New York Giants. We go live on Wednesdays, and look, we are less than 600 subscribers away from getting to 10,000. And the analytics say 70% of people that still watch these videos are not subscribed. So if you haven't yet, go down right now, hit that big red button, and if you're like, Marshall, I'm a real one, I'm already subscribed, then type me in the comment section, because look, all the real ones, they're already subbed. So if you're subbed, type me in the comment section so I can know if you're a real one. What's going on, guys? Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and today's show is presented by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety tool to help you and your family stay protected on the internet. There's a whole bunch of scammers out there these days, and Aura will let you start a 14-day free trial to protect yourself, your information, and your banking stuff online. Get started with them today, aura.com/chatsports. To start today's show, I think it's a good idea as we look at some trade targets later on in the show, at an updated look at the Giants' salary cap. Right now, the Giants are sitting at plus $6.6 million in cap space. So if they wanted to make a trade or they want to go sign a free agent, they have the money to do so. They still, though, have three rookies that have not been signed. You have Wan'Dale Robinson, Daniel Bellinger, and Dane Belton all still unsigned, but that will only cost the Giants about $815,000 in cap space, so they would have right around $5.8 million to use in the open market on a free agent or a trade. That means they could take on some salary cap space or a high salary cap number in a trade due to the fact that the Giants are finally in the green when it comes to salary cap. So let's break it down. Some New York Giant trade targets. And the first one is Chuck Clark, a player that we've talked about on the show before. He has a lot of ties to the Giants. He's played with the Ravens throughout his whole entire NFL career. And the Giants' defensive coordinator, as you well know, is Wink Martindale, who is coming from the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, they were shopping Chuck Clark during the NFL draft. The thing is, like the Giants with James Bradberry, they were unable to find a trade. The Ravens, they're also very deep at safety after they signed Marcus Williams on day one of NFL free agency. And in the first round of the draft, they drafted Kyle Hamilton. So Chuck Clark is now looking on the outside in when it comes to being a starting safety for the Baltimore Ravens. And the fact that there's, a connection and a relationship between Wink Martindale and Clark is a plus. He would be able to come over and help some of the young guys on this Giants roster. And aside from that, he's a damn good football player. He's reliable. He rarely misses games. He's a healthy player. Last year in 2021, played all 16 games, had 80 tackles, 12 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, on top of 3 tackles for loss. He's a do-it-all safety. He can be your single high. He can be your strong safety. He can come in the slot, be that nickel safety, and he can also be a safety in the box playing a linebacker type of role. When you look at this Giants safety depth chart, we know Xavier McKinney is a bad man. Julian Love, I'm kind of concerned about him being a starting strong safety. I like him best as a nickelback. I know he's a good football player and he can do it all, but I need to see him in a strong safety role. And then outside of them, you have a rookie in Dane Belton, and then a free safety in Jarran Reed, who's been a cornerback his whole career. So there's definitely a question mark when it comes to this safety room and safety depth chart for the Giants. Look, Chuck Clark's a good player. I think he'd come in and be the starting strong safety, but he'd also help a guy like Julian Love and Dane Belton and Jarran Reed get acclimated to this new Giants system. So I'll leave this up to you, Giants fans. This is a trade idea we've talked about on the show, and our Ravens host has talked about it on his show, and it sounds like they would be down to do it. So what about the Giants? They get Chuck Clark, and they send out Darius Slayton and a 2023 7th-round pick. Giants fans, I want you to be a part of today's show early on and let me know. Who were to win this trade if it were to go down? Would it be the Giants because they get to add Chuck Clark, a veteran safety, and bolster up a young unit? Or would it be the Ravens because they get a draft pick and they get to add Darius Slayton? Let me know. Type NYG for the Giants or BAL for the Baltimore Ravens. Another defensive back that the Giants could look to trade for. What about Cameron Dantzler, the outside corner for the Minnesota Vikings? For the past season, prior to the 2021 season, Dantzler was mentioned in trade rumors. There's a new regime coming to Minnesota. There's going to be a new defensive coordinator there, a new head coach. Maybe Dantzler doesn't fit into that new scheme that the Vikings are looking to run. I like Dantzler a lot. We'll break down his stats in a quick second. But first, I want to tell you a little bit more about Aura. You can start a free trial today at aura.com/chatsports. They will help you protect yourself and your family online because, look, you do more online now than ever, and Aura does more to keep you safe. They offer financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online, as well as device security, family plans, that can protect up to 5 people. Get started with them today. Aura.com/chatsports. I'll have the link to that in the comments and description of this video. Click on it and start a 14-day free trial that you can cancel at any time for absolutely zero cost. When you think about the player that Cameron Dantzler is after being a high draft pick and still a young player in his career, he played well in the limited action he saw in the 14 games this past season. He was targeted 74 times, allowed 40 catches, had 8 pass breakups, 1 interception, allowed 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. But it's the yards per target that I love about Dantzler. He led all NFL corners with 4.7 yards per target during the 2021 NFL season. And I think he would fit really well into this scheme. He's a press man corner that's long and lanky, has really long arms, and it would allow Aaron Robinson to get back into the slot where he is most comfortable. If you could have a starting CB1 and CB2 of Adoree Jackson, Cam Dantzler, and your slot corner as Aaron Robinson, you'd be sitting in a much better spot than you are right now. I like some guys on this team. I like Darnay Holmes. Michael Jacquet has looked really good in Giants OTAs. But these are players that have shown they haven't been able to succeed in the NFL, and there's some question marks as well. Cordell Flott, he's a rookie. I want him on the field, but I don't know if he's going to be ready to contribute right away. I could very well be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope Cordell Flott's great, but sometimes it takes rookie corners a little bit of time to get acclimated to the NFL lifestyle. I just showed you guys the Giants corner depth chart, but I want to ask you this question. Are you confident in that group? Do you think that group is going to be able to get it done on Sundays and help the Giants compete in the NFC East? Scale your confidence using a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being you're not confident at all, 10 being you're extremely confident. Weigh in the comment section for me right now. What about a little bit more of a noteworthy name? Another cornerback. What about Jeff Okudah, the former top 5 pick by the Detroit Lions? I still have a really high ceiling for Jeff Okudah. He hasn't gotten it done through his 2-year career in the NFL. Only played in 1 game last year due to suffering a season-ending injury. Has only played in 10 games in his NFL career coming off that Achilles injury. But he has 51 tackles in 10 games. He's a physical corner that likes to get in the face of the receiver, get his hands on you. He has the speed to play press coverage. The thing is, he has allowed a very high completion percentage of 77.1%, has allowed 3 touchdowns, 3 pass breakups, as well as 1 interception. Sometimes a player that has struggled early on in their career, like Jeff Okudah has so far during the 10 games with the Detroit Lions, sometimes you need a change of scenery. And sometimes that's what you need in a young player. Also, Cam Dantzler is going to be a much cheaper piece in a trade than it would be for Jeff Okudah. That's just what it's going to be. A former top 5 pick is going to have to take maybe a 3rd or a 4th round pick to come over from the Lions to the New York Giants. But like I said a couple of seconds ago, sometimes a change of scenery is all that a young player needs. Coming over to a defense ran by Wink Martindale, where he asks his corners to be physical, to be aggressive, to play a brand of football that is what Jeff Okudah brings to the table. He's physical, he's athletic, he likes to get his hands on receivers. I think Okudah would look really good in this Giants secondary, but at the end of the day, you got to spend money to make money, and the Giants may be having to give up too much in this trade to land Okudah and play with the New York Football Giants. But I want you to pick one of these 2 corners. We talked about Okudah, we talked about Dantzler, and factor in the price. Dantzler is going to be much cheaper than Okudah would in a trade. So let me know, who would you rather have on the Giants in a trade? Type JO for Jeff Okudah or CD for Cameron Dantzler. What about beefing up the interior defensive line or just adding another edge rusher to this Giants defense? Because if there's one thing we know, you can never have enough guys that like to get after the passer. Clelin Ferrell, another former top 10 pick, hasn't lived up to the bill coming out of Clemson. Played in 42 games so far in his NFL career with the Raiders. 79 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 24 QB hits. But the thing that I like the most about Clelin Ferrell is he's versatile. He can line up on the edge. He can line up on the inside. And back in 2020, his best season in the NFL, he did so predominantly playing on the interior defensive line. He's not a big, hefty guy that's going to be a great run stopper, but he adds that versatility that we're going to see out of Wink Martindale. There's going to be a lot of different ways that Wink's going to line up this defense. And when you look at this defensive line depth chart and really the front five for the Giants, Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari, those are going to be your outside linebackers or edge rushers, whatever you want to call them. Then you have Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence manning the inside. But after that, you have Justin Ellis. He's a question mark. Jihad Ward, he's looked good in a Wink Martindale system before, but there's a reason he hasn't stuck around at any team for a while. I like Quincy Roche. I like Ellerson Smith. I think O'Shane Zimenez could come back, but those guys are unproven. I like Quincy Roche the most out of those three guys, but when you think about it as, outside looking in, you can never have enough pass rushers. And I don't know if the Giants have enough right now, because after Thibodeau and Quincy Roche and Azeez Ojulari, yeah, you get some help there from Leonard Williams. Would it be that bad of an idea to go and maybe take a chance on a guy like Clelin Ferrell, a former top 10 pick? Sometimes you just need a change of scenery like we talked about earlier, and you need to be under different coaching. Could Wink Martindale get the absolute most out of Clelin Ferrell? It's definitely something I would explore, see what the Raiders would want, and then we could go from there. But I don't think it's a bad idea to go after Ferrell. We showed 4 guys that I think the Giants could maybe look at, or 4 guys that could help this Giants team get to the next level. Maybe it's one of those guys that you want the Giants to trade for, or maybe not, and that's fine. If it's someone else, let me know in the comment section. Just give me a name of somebody you want the Giants to trade for. I want to say thank you to everybody that has made it this far in the video. You're a real one. And look, if you made it this far, type real one in the comment section so I can separate the phonies from the real ones, because the real ones, they finish every single video. So let me know you're a real one by telling me in the comment section.